Hello everybody, I am Vim427 and welcome back to Scrap Mechanic. Now, you remember that in the last Scrap Mechanic video, I had talked about how I wanted to make, for example, like an AI bus, pretty much a vehicle that could drive itself around. Well, I've done that. Now, in the video, I had mentioned that I might be using the Intelligentsia mod, and possibly in the future I could be, just because the mindset that I had was, okay, it could follow a target and things like that. But the main problem that I'd found with that is that the AI takes the most direct path, which is totally fine. Like, that's good. That's a good thing. It's easy, it's good, it's fine. But the one downside to that is it would be very hard to try to, again, maneuver. Again, there's probably ways we could do it. But again, my knowledge of the game is not as much as somebody else who could probably do that. But pretty much, I'd been thinking to myself, okay, I kind of stopped the AI thing for a bit, like just not doing it in my own personal time. It's not that I didn't like it, it's just, I wanted to do other things. And so I was like, you know what? I actually want to make a bus. And now I know that sounds weird, but it's like it's something I want to do. I just want to challenge myself. So I want to make this bus as realistic as possible. So I wanted to have the like a air suspension. So when you can stop the bus and you can open the door and open the doors, and then the bus one half. At least in my case, whenever I see a bus or have gone to a bus, things like that. Again, this is a public transit one, not like a school bus one. Like the side that the door's on, kind of like like bends down while the other end stays up, and then it pops back up, kind of thing. So I wanted to do that. I wanted to have blinkers, stoplights, reverse light, like things like that. I wanted to make this bus as realistic as I could, and that is what I had done. So that's a noise. So first off, I'll show you this bus, and then we'll get to that one because that one's a little more special. But pretty much, this had been the bus I had made, and I'll put an image up on screen. I'll try to see if I can find the same image that I used as kind of a representation, like what I wanted to go off of, kind of my inspiration. Now, if you are not aware, I live in Winnipeg. It's a city in Manitoba. I'm not going to tell you where in that city I live, but that is the city that I live in. And not all of our buses look like this, but preferably the bus style that kind of popped out more at me was this orange, white, and black one. And as you can tell, it's clearly not 100%. Like the way the outside and things like that are painted is not like 100% perfect. I just wanted to put WT for Winnipeg Transit on all sides just because I thought it'd make it look nice instead of having it just be bare kind of thing. But other than that, it's pretty gosh darn accurate, and I'm very happy with it, and I think it looks great. So as you can see, again, we'll get to that one. But the buses tilt, so they're on a tilt, and pretty much what it is I would show you the wiring stuff, but okay, you know what? I'll try. They're very heavily AI, but pretty much what it is it's literally just a piston that, or some like regular suspension, I think it's sports suspension just because it's shorter, and then it's just on top of a piston. Then the piston extends one block, and they're on all four of the wheels. But I'll get to show you later why I decided to end up putting them on both wheels. The original, I guess you could say, like the original version before I had decided to add a little extra oomph to it. I didn't have that side. It was just those wheels. But anyways. So pretty much, as you can see here, it's very simple. This one is not artificially controlled. It's just all human input. So when we get onto it, sometimes you might need to crouch. I don't know. It depends. But we get in here, and you can see there's places to sit. Now again, I don't know about you guys, and again, this is probably just me, just because I don't go on buses as much. They're kind of, again, specifically public transit ones, but in my experience, they always seem to have, again, these chairs that are right up against the back, usually, again, to where all the engine-related things are, like, just way at the back there, and then they're on top of something, and they always end up being the most, like, vibraty, I guess. But, yeah, that's there, too. And, yeah, again, it's very simple. It's just supposed to be something to get people from point A to point B. So, we can sit down here, go into the seat, and I believe if we press 1... yeah, okay, good. I was like, I better, like, past me, better have not changed the things on me or the kind of thing. But pretty much, so yeah, you press the 1 switch, and it opens and closes the door. That's just, again, a couple of bearings and things like that. Very simple. Here, let me zoom out. You press the 2 key, and that controls only the, what would that be? The right wheel piston parts. There's some stuff in the back in the engine that I'll get to that controls the rest of the pistons. Then you press 3, turns on the lights. Press 4, turns on those top lights, and this back one behind here, because it's supposed to be like the little, things at the top of the bus saying, where it's going, where it's, things like that. And then number 6, that's number 5. Just a horn, so we'll turn that off. But yeah, it just handles pretty well. It's obviously a little slower because it's, a big heavy bus. But it... Oh yeah, it does have a backup horn, I guess, and as well as flashing lights. And that was another little something I wanted to add for realism. As well as also clickers. So if I back the bus up and then stop it, and then just hold... Again, like D to go left, you can see that there's clickers. And again, it's other than the pretty much the most complicated parts about this were, again, like the suspension wheel and not the door as much, but pretty much, again, it was the suspension. That was like the main big selling point for me wanting to make this. So let's see, we can drive it here and things like that, and it handles okay when you don't drive it off the side of something. Come on, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving, it's going, it's going. There we go. But yeah, so if we... And let's, like, go out here or something. And then, like, stop it, and then lap. Lap. There you go, you can open it, and then, oh, you're done. It is good to note that sometimes, depending on situation, the door does have a little trouble opening. I couldn't seem to fix that. Now, as you can see, there's a little button right down there. It's hidden. That is... actually, I might as well do that. That is for when you spawn in the bus or you've closed the door. So say, for example, I do close this door. Well, how do I want to get in? I don't want to, obviously, break a window or something. Well, you can press this button. And I can't remember if it's a... I think it's a 30-second timer. Yeah, a 30-second timer goes off. It's been a little bit of a while since I've touched this specific one. As of recently, I've mostly been focusing on the AI one. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then, let's press number 2 there. So yeah, that's, I guess, how it's used. So now, let's just announce. Yeah, this one has no artificial controls. Everything's, human controlled. So then let's open up these back ones here. And this is pretty much where all of the brains are. And most of this stuff in here is literally, like, not necessary at all. Like, in fact, again, like, I could take out 70% of this stuff that's in here. And the vehicle itself could still work and have the piston lean. Pretty much what the rest of this stuff is for either the clickers, so the turn signals, backup light, and then I think this little part here is literally just for the pistons and is what controls the pistons. And then everything else, like there's a timer. This is to control the left signals, the right signals. That's to control the engine. I believe, yeah, that's for the backup signal as well as the white light. And then this is just, I think, another little... right. This part, this is very important. This is a sensor that has to go off that pretty much, like, sets everything up because this is memory bit, and as much as the D part can do some stuff, this this just helps keep things a little stable. But that's pretty much it. There's a weight on this side just because one side was a little heavier than the other because of the seats. There's a few more seats on this side than there's on that side. But pretty much, if we press this button, this is the only other switch in here. Yeah, again, this sensor is just on all the time, so that's good because it keeps everything activated. But yeah, this sensor is just pretty much activates all the pistons and turns them all off. So this way, you can lean down and have it be easier to go in here. And then flick it again, and yeah. It's quite simple. Again, as much as it doesn't look simple in there, a lot of this is just bit memory, so it's the whole, it turns it off. It's bit memory. So yeah, very, very, very cool. So that was the original one, and it was very fun to grade. I still love it. It's really great. I'm really proud of it. As simple as it is, comparedly, I mean, you look at a bunch of the wiring, and then, but I was pretty proud of it. And then we get over to this one. Now, as you can see, it's a lot more complicated compared to the other one. Now, most of that bulk wire you can see here is from lights that come here, and that is pretty much just because of the lights that are here on the back. Yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of the bulk of the wire that you see comes from here. Everything in the back is the same, as you can see. It's the whole the clickers and engine control, things like that. Like, it's pretty much the same. That block's a little different just because some things need to be like inverted. But pretty much literally everything in the back besides like one thing that I showed you, it's the same. They're both the same in the back. But you can see that up here is different. On the other bus, there was nothing. It was just hollow. And again, the image that I showed you, you can see where that's the little bump at the top there. And yes, these are two different color schemes. And yeah, again, of course, there's like the painting on the side there. I just wanted to make it different so it's noticeable, but there's still the same style of bus. So pretty much what happens up here is all of the intelligence and processing. So pretty much what can happen is you can see there's buttons 5 and 6 down here. Besides controlling lights on the side here, they set up a piece of bit memory here which activates a timer as well as another piece of bit memory that controls an engine. And there's just a bunch of conversion. So pretty much that's what this does, and it pretty much helps memorize in the timer and things like that. So pretty much what this timer is it's a timer that pretty much when you first load up the machine, this timer has to get to the full position before it can be used. It's pretty much almost like a boot up. And then if you flick these two switches, which this one it controls the pretty much there's a almost like you could say schedule, a pattern that this bus takes, where it pretty much it starts off, and then when you spawn it in, pretty much even before the timer fills up, these pistons on this side fall down, decompress, and then this opens just to again make it more inviting. Because one thing that a lot of people again, specifically with automation, one thing that again makes people turn away with automation is the fact that it's not inviting. It doesn't have a human touch. So I wanted to make it a little bit more welcoming. I get a little bit, I guess. I don't know. When I decided to do this, I was kind of tired, and also, yeah, it was just confusing. But yeah, so I wanted to make it a little bit more friendly-ish and not have too much extra flashing stuff. But pretty much, that's what this main big chunk does here. These two here, this stuff here, again, most of the controller bits on these buses are bit memory, and once as a while ago, and Scrap Mechanic has gotten a whole lot easier with me finding out how to make bit memory and how to use it, because it is just like it has made everything so much smaller, and it is like, again, I couldn't have done these buses, like, yes, even this one, the one that doesn't have automation, again, because there's a few things in the back, like, I couldn't have done it without figuring out how to make bit memory. But besides that, so pretty much this stuff up here controls the on off of the engine, the timer when the doors open. It's the pretty much the stuff at the front, I guess. Now, again, this stuff here, this is the turning. So this determines, well, how it turns. So you can see here that I think the pistons on this bus are a little higher than the ones on that one. I don't think so. I might be wrong. Yeah, I think they're a little higher. I might be wrong about that. It's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so, okay, I was right. They're a little higher. Now, that is because, if we look here, you can see that the front wheels have, excuse me, each have 2 bearings on them, and pretty much one bearing represents left turning, and the other bearing represents right turning. So, pretty much, what happens is, actually, I should show this down here. There's pretty much half of the sensors, so, pretty much the sensors on, come on, this half, I guess, of the bus that aren't yellow. Pretty much these red sensors would correlate to the little red one that, again, we could show you up there. These yellow ones correlate to the yellow little one up there, and then the blue ones correlate to the blue little one up there. Now, why am I not explaining to you what the colors mean and represent? Well, because I'm going to tell you right now. So, as you can see, red is for right, and then blue is for left. So, pretty much, if the blue sensors are activated, and they're supposed to detect the color blue, which is why that's over there, pretty much what it does is it sets off a little bit memory piece, and then it basically, it turns the wheels, in this case. I think it actually, wait, do I have them? I just realized it. Okay, I'm not going. Okay, I was going crazy for a second. I had just realized that I had put the, pretty much, so as you can see, if I crouch back down here, you can see that there's red sensors on this side, but on this side of the bus, on this side of the bus, there's blue. The bus, okay, because the bus would still work, but it was just me. I pretty much just put them on opposite sides. But pretty much what it does is it sets off a little timer that turns, in this case, if this was red, it would activate the red sensors, and then it would turn the bus right, and then blue would turn it left. And then it just activates bit memory. These buttons are the manual reset, and now this one is pretty much the same as left and right, except it's, actually, I think it's controlled by this piece, and what it does is pretty much when the front yellow sensors that you saw there that make up the majority of the sensors, pretty much when they detect yellow, it means stop. Now I know what you're thinking, oh, well, why didn't you put red as stop? Well, it's my decision, it's my creation. I make the rules. But pretty much what it does is it activates a little bit memory that stops the vehicle, so it pretty much cuts off the power to the engine. Which in Scrap Mechanic stops it, because, you know, no power to the engine, and the brakes, things like that. So it cuts off the power to it for 3 seconds, and then after 3 seconds, this resets, and once it's reset, it allows power to go back to the engine, and guess what? It can keep moving. So, yeah. Now, one thing to note is that, so again, I told you this a little earlier, this activates the, I guess you'd say, cycle of, again, stopping and starting and opening the doors, like things like that. And then this one represents the activation of, I believe, the turning sensors. Now, the yellow ones, which represent stopping, excuse me, cannot be turned off. They're always active. I decided to keep it that way. So this way, again, you can't have somebody who's trying to, again, like drive really fast, crash into something. It's the whole, even though I have AI mode turned off and I'm, driving it manually, because that's something you can do with this one too. Except it's not as good as driving one that's meant to be completely manual. So it's the whole, you can't have someone going, try to ram it. So even if there's the yellow line to stop it, the bus will still stop for a few seconds. So yeah, now one thing to note before I start, this particular bus is not good at downhill. I've pretty much always kind of been aware of that. It's supposed to be flat. So, before I start, this bus does work, and I have tested it a lot, and it does make proper turns. It's just the fact that it's going downhill, it gets a little extra momentum than it's used to. So if it does crash during these few demonstrations, I know it's really bad to kind of tell you that it works and then you don't see it working, but it has worked. If I need to, if these particular things aren't going, we can go into a flat world where I had done most of the testing for the AI bus, and I can show you where it should work. So let's just pick this up and spawn it in. Now you can see that the engine turned on there, and yeah, it turns on a second time. That is pretty much almost like a part of the boot up cycle, I guess. And as you can see here, this little timer is filling up. And once we take it off the lift, that does that. Now, pretty much what's going to happen is, as you can see, no buttons are switched, so the bus is stationary, because that's usually, how it works. Now, once we hop on and flick these switches, the bus will start moving. That's kind of obvious. And remember this: this bar at the top here must be completely full for the bus to start moving. That's pretty much, this is almost like, again, like a countdown timer. Because since there isn't, again, if this was, a perfect world where I could, again, eventually I could definitely do this, with a couple more days of tweaking this. Again, knock on wood, if it ends up being, I hope it doesn't end up being weeks and only days or something, knock on wood. But, yeah, it's pretty much it's like a countdown timer. So this way, if it stopped, the bar will have to fill up, and then it's the whole, the bar's filled up, and I'm somebody trying to get there. Well, it's too late. I can't, knock on the window and say, hey, wait a few seconds while, kind of thing. But yeah, so let's just turn these switches on and then get in. So as you can see there, the yellow sensors detected that, and then the blue sensors. Yep, okay, just as I had feared. So pretty much what had happened, and no matter how much testing I had done could fix this, pretty much the bus is getting too much momentum and can't control how much it turns. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go into a flat world, which I've just named test world. This other test one was the one where I demonstrated a speedometer, but you guys have already seen that. So let's just go to the actual one where the bus is, and then I will demonstrate to you the functionality of this one. And I forgot I did that this way, right, because I had originally planned out to demonstrate the buses to you guys in this world, but I wanted to show you the world that I had made a little scene in. But yeah. So just so you know, these buses are the same as they should be. Let me check the top, because I remember that I ended up doing some testing with the buses in the other world, and I know that other things could have affected it, but you know what? I'm gonna be safe and say that this should work. If it doesn't, I'll fix it, but yeah, so pretty much as you can see, there is a yellow block and a red block. Oh yeah, okay, right. And pretty much once the bus gets up to full speed, it takes about 18 blocks for this to stop. But the red block is going to turn red stripe should, in theory, if everything works, should turn the bus 90 degrees to the right, because it's right. So yeah, And behind here is just, the reason why it's like that is because there's a few little blocks in here that I just had to, well, I didn't have to. I could have put them up there, but I wanted to keep them down here, just because of the fact that if I put it up there, I know that I ended up getting confused. And, yeah. So let's turn these things on, sit in a seat, get you guys a good angle, and let the bus drive itself. So there you go. So it's about 18 blocks. It's a little off. I can't. Ah! It worked. It's a little off, and I think that's just more, again, fine tweaking and, you know, the whole... It starts off a little different every time, but that can be easily fixed. Like, here, you know what? And that's me, and not pretty much... there's not a designated place, I guess, to say to put this down, so it could always be starting off at different speeds or something, or it could be, for all I know, it could actually be lag caused by my computer, because I know that some things in Scrap Mechanic can be affected by lag. So as you can see, bar filled up, and then does that. So it stops at the same place, and then there we go. Okay. So yeah. So I know it's not a great for door open again. Weird. Okay, usually having the switch on does it, but I think it's because, oh yeah, because okay, that's it. Yeah. So a lot of the problems that are happening with this are me and just being a dum-dum with stuff, so... Okay, so I think I should add a little bit more time onto that. Let's make that 800, just so it can turn a little bit longer. And then put that there, because, ooh, geez, okay, that's... Because I know one thing that can affect this is weight. Like, I noticed that, if I stand in the bus without sitting, that can actually affect how it turns and how it moves, just because there's something else there that it has to detect collisions for, so I can end up, again, bumping into a seat and then shifting it. Oh, excuse me, I had a dry throat. But, like, it's sensitive to, again, minor things, because, I mean, it's Scrap Mechanic, what do you expect, but... Alright. Alright, I've been doing this for half an hour. Let's go. Go, 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 go. Okay, so it needs to do it for a little bit longer. But again, it's totally fine. There we go. I gotta wait until the second engine revs so that it doesn't fly off on me. It doesn't actually affect the way that the bus drives or moves or anything. It's just the whole, I don't like the bus, you know, trying to drive away from me, so. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna bump it up to like 3. So again, most of this stuff is, again, this is all just me and being the klutz, and again, lag and the whole, again, I'm recording, so I'd be getting like 140-ish frames, and I'm only getting 113. I know it's, yeah, it's not that, I'm not getting bad frame rates, but it's the whole, again, there's different things, so calculations could be happening a little differently. Also, I've got 2 buses, so that could also be affecting it, and also clearly my frames, so. There we go. Actually, that's a little too far to this side. Alright, we'll do this one last shot, but yeah. So, I'm not going to put this up on the workshop immediately. I want to put, I will put it up once it's done, and like I've 100% finished it, and I'm happy with everything, but yeah. All right, but yeah. So again, it's the whole. I also spawned this a little too more to that side, but yeah. So we're just gonna leave it here. So this was yeah my. Wait, hold on. Did I turn this off? Oh no, I didn't. Glad I remembered that because it was about to start moving. But yeah, so this was my AI bus. That yeah. Again, most AI buses you'd see would pretty much have a pattern that they follow, but this one, the pattern can be completely determined. If I wanted to, I could, again, go back and repaint these lines, and this one could be red, and that one could be yellow, for all I know. Well, then again, it'd be turning, so. Yeah, but it's still got a few kinks in it to work out, but again, that's what you'd expect. But yeah. So I'm just going to leave this episode here. So if you guys enjoyed, be sure to like button, and if you see more of my content, remember to subscribe and leave a comment down below. As is appreciated. Either way, see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.